Today I thought I'd share with you the spiritual law that sets you free. It's called the law of detachment. In order to get anything in the physical world, you have to detach from the outcome. You have to be in the process. That starts with even the most basic yoga practices that we call asana. When we talk about asana, the word literally means the seat of awareness. So how does the law of detachment apply to what we call yogasana every day?
Well, I think it comes back to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. There is this concept of abhyasa and vairagya. And abhyasa means practice, continue with the practice. We show up, we get on our mat, we do our asanas, our yoga practice. And vairagya is letting go of the results. We're not coming to the mat because we are thinking about where we're going to end up, but we show up because we're connecting to what's happening in the present moment. And in that connection of the present moment, in that experience of consciousness, yields the results. So the results are in the practice.
So as we do our yoga asanas, of course, we are sometimes at the same time using our breath, and we are putting awareness on that particular part of the body which is being most focused on in that particular asana, most stretched. And you're bringing awareness into the body, and then the outcome takes care of itself, right?
Right. That is like yoga.
That's yoga.
Yeah.
So actually there's a Sanskrit expression for this, yogast kuru karmani. Established in yoga, perform action. So what does that mean? Established in being, perform action. Established in awareness, perform action. In this case, the action that we call asana practice. But the same could be applied to breath, and the same could be applied to any action in the so-called physical world. So that's abhyasa, means practice, and vairagya means detachment. So let's go a little deeper into this, because if you really understand yoga, which means union with the source is awareness, the source is consciousness. What we call the mind is a reflection of your individual consciousness, your karma, memories, and so on, your desires. And then the body in turn is the reflection of the conditioned mind, and so is the rest of what we call the universe as human beings. In other words, the whole thing is consciousness. Consciousness modulates itself as mind, body, and universe. Now, if we understand only one principle here, that would be that consciousness is infinitely malleable, and it can be molded to any outcome whatsoever, as long as you detach from the outcome and stay in the process. If you understand that, then your body is a modified form of consciousness. And if you do practice yoga every day with pranayama, along with any meditation practice, then you are literally able to sculpt your body into a desired outcome, as long as you stay in the process. So would you say, Sarah, as my teacher, that you've noticed a shift in my body?
Hands down, unbelievably, yes. I think just your attention to the practice, your dedication to the practice, your discipline in it has, without attachment to any goal, there has been a shift in just your attention to it every day. Therefore, your body has shifted, your breath, your postures, your suppleness. Yeah, it's been amazing.
So then, this is the real meaning of reinventing your body by resurrecting your soul. You reinvent your body at a physical level, even at a micro level. The genes that cause self-regulation, homeostasis, go up. The genes that cause inflammation go down. Telomerase, the enzyme that regulates the length of telomeres, it goes up very significantly, meaning that you're actually reversing the biological markers of the aging process. So just remember your body is made out of awareness. It is a modified form of awareness. So is your mind. But yoga is the deeper understanding. It's the first lesson in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is Chit Vritti Nirodh. So cut down the fluctuations of consciousness. The world is a fluctuation of consciousness from an individual's perspective, but the body is a fluctuation of consciousness. The mind is a fluctuation of consciousness. Consciousness by itself, without those fluctuations, is pure awareness, which is infinite possibilities or infinitely malleable. That's the real meaning of the law of detachment, is not that you don't get involved in the physical world. It's how you do. What's your center of identity? If your center of identity is situations, circumstances, events, and people, then you're at the mercy of every stranger on the on the street. You know, whatever they say, validate, invalidate you. That's your identity. If your identity is purely the physical body, then we also know that's changing all the time. You don't have the same body you had 10 years ago. If your identity is your present mind, we know that it's not the same as yesterday's mind. So what is your true identity? And that is what yoga says. Your true identity is awareness, and everything else is a modification of that. And when you get that totally and completely, then you have no resistance, no anticipation, you're not burdened by memory, and the right response comes to you for every situation as it happens. Spontaneous right action, spontaneous right thinking, intuition, creativity. Who would know that all this can be harnessed just through the practice of yoga?
It really is phenomenal. It's if we could all just every day bring our attention to this practice for 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be a full hour, an hour and a half, but really practice what you're talking about, the real true principles of yoga. How different would our world be? How transformed and liberated would we become?
So once again, established in being, perform yoga and action, asana, pranayam, all the different aspects of yoga, but never forget you are the seer and not the scenery. The mind is the scenery, the body is the scenery, the world is the scenery. You are the ever-present, timeless, eternal seer in the midst of all that. And when you truly understand that, then actually detachment is freedom and play and creativity and insight and intuition and everything else that we want in life. But is that good enough for today?
Sounds great, yeah.
Okay, detach.
Let's detach.
Let go.
No attachments.
Let go and flow.